Okay, guys, before we start, I need you to take a second and really think about this. What would you do if you went to sleep in your own bed, in your own room, in your own city, and woke up as a completely different person in a completely different world? Not a dream, not a movie, actually real, actually happening to you right now. Because that is exactly what happened to our guy today. And trust me when I say this, what happens next is going to absolutely destroy you emotionally. So hit that subscribe button right now, settle in, and let's get into it. So we open in Seoul, South Korea. Normal Tuesday night, nothing special happening, and we meet our main character, Park Jae-hyun, 23 years old, history student, lives alone in a small apartment, not many friends, just a quiet, simple guy who loves coffee and watches history documentaries late at night. Honestly, brother is living the most boring life possible, and he is completely fine with that. That night, Jae-hyun is watching a documentary about medieval European kingdoms, finishes his coffee, turns off the light, gets into bed, closes his eyes, and then he opens his eyes. And immediately something is wrong. The ceiling above him is not his ceiling. This ceiling is massive, made of stone, covered in royal carvings. Brother is looking up thinking, okay, this is definitely not my apartment. He sits up, and his second shock hits him even harder. This is not his body. Different hands, different build, completely different physical feeling. He finds a mirror nearby and looks at his reflection. Sharp European features staring back at him, deep eyes, the face of someone born into serious wealth and power. And our guy just stares at this face for a long moment. Then one word comes out of his mouth, in Korean, his real language. 뭐야 이게? What is this? Guys, I cannot even imagine this moment. You wake up and you are literally someone else. In someone else's body, in someone else's world. Brother must have been absolutely losing his mind right now. But here's what makes Jae-hyun different from most people. He is a history student. He has read manhwas. He has watched anime. His brain immediately goes, okay, I know what this is. This is transmigration. This actually happens, apparently. So instead of fully panicking, he sits down and starts thinking. Analyzing, processing, and slowly he realizes something incredible. He has access to all of this body's memories, every single one, like someone downloaded a complete human life directly into his brain. The childhood, the relationships, the political knowledge, all of it. This body belongs to Victor Wren, Crown Prince of Valdoria, a powerful Eastern European kingdom, 23 years old, loved by the people. Coronation, meaning the ceremony to officially make him king, is just a few weeks away. And Jae-hyun is sitting there going through all these memories thinking, okay, this is actually a pretty incredible situation. Crown Prince, great. I can work with this. But then his history student brain starts doing what it does best, looking for red flags. And brother, the red flags are everywhere. Victor's most trusted advisor, Chancellor Aldrich Voss. This guy is always calm, always has the perfect answer, always right about everything, always available with exactly the right advice at exactly the right moment. Jae-hyun immediately thinks, in every history book I have ever read, guys like this are never the good guys. Never. This is red flag number one. Then there is General Harkin, head of the military. Loyal on the surface, but loyal to what exactly? Jae-hyun is not sure. And then there is Victor's father, King Edric Wren, great ruler, built Valdoria into a powerful nation. But as a father, cold, distant, believes weakness is a crime, has never really connected with Victor emotionally. And finally, Sophia Marchetti, Victor's girlfriend. And guys, the memories Jae-hyun has of Sophia are overwhelming. Years of genuine love, real connection, the kind of relationship that feels like home. But Jae-hyun, thinking as an outsider without the cloud of that emotion, notices something. In the last few weeks of Victor's memories, Sophia has been slightly off, a heaviness behind her eyes, a guilt she keeps trying to hide. His grandfather used to say in Korean, 가장 가까운 사람을 조심해라. Be most careful of the people closest to you. Jae-hyun files that away. And then he checks the date in Victor's memories. And his stomach drops. Because tonight, this night, is the night everything goes wrong. Brother has been in this body for literally a few hours, and he is already in the middle of a crisis. No warm-up period. No time to adjust. Just, here is your new life, and by the way, it is already on fire. A guard comes to the door. Chancellor Aldrich wants to see the Crown Prince. Urgently. Tonight. Jae-hyun looks at that guard and thinks, he could run right now. Use the secret passages in Victor's memories. Try to escape before anything starts. But he also knows, if Aldrich has planned this, and everything about this guy says he plans everything perfectly, then every exit is already covered. So he does the smart thing, the historian thing. He says, tell Aldrich I am on my way. And then he walks straight toward whatever is coming, eyes open, brain running, ready to gather every piece of information he can, even as everything falls apart around him. He gets to Aldrich's chamber. Empty. And then, from outside, boots. Hundreds of them, moving in perfect military formation. Jae-hyun goes to the window and looks out. Soldiers! Hundreds of Valdoria's own military soldiers surrounding the palace with weapons drawn. And standing right at the front, General Harkin. And right next to him, Chancellor Aldrich Voss. Jae-hyun stares at this for exactly 3 seconds. Then, in a very quiet, very calm Korean voice, he says to himself, there it is. No panic, no screaming, just, there it is. The history student has seen enough historical coups to recognize one when he is standing inside it. He moves immediately. Victor's memories guiding him through every corridor, every turn. He knows this palace perfectly through borrowed recollection. But every passage is blocked. Every exit has soldiers already positioned. These people plan this for months. They know this palace as well as Victor does. Probably better because they had time to prepare while Victor was busy trusting everyone. Jae-hyun keeps moving, thinking fast, options getting smaller with every corridor. He turns a corner and stops completely. Sophia is standing right there. Guys, this moment. Sophia's eyes are red from crying, tears on her face, but she is not moving toward him, not reaching for him, just standing there between him and the way out. And Jae-hyun looks at her, really looks at her, and he notices something that the original Victor, blind with love and shock, could never have noticed in this moment. Sophia looks helpless. Not guilty like someone who made a free choice, guilty like someone who had no choice. Her entire body is saying, I am trapped. I am being forced to stand here. I cannot move. Victor's memories are screaming at him from inside this borrowed body. The love, the confusion, the desperate need for her to explain everything. But Jae-hyun controls that wave, because he is not Victor, and he sees what Victor would have been too heartbroken to see. He makes a quick assessment in his mind. Helpless, coerced, possibly important later. He takes one step in a different direction, and the soldiers come from behind. They grab him, bind his hands, push him hard against the wall. Jae-hyun does not fight it, because fighting 20 soldiers with his hands bound achieves nothing except injuries. So he lets them take him. But as they drag him away, he looks back at Sophia one last time. Their eyes meet, and she looks away. That night, Valdoria hears an official announcement from Chancellor Aldrich. Crown Prince Victor Rin has committed treason, conspired with foreign powers. He is a traitor. The people of Valdoria, who loved Victor, are in complete shock. They do not believe it. But Harkon's military floods the streets. Official evidence is presented, and when authority speaks loudly enough, doubt always finds a way in. And King Edric, Victor's own father, says absolutely nothing. No denial, no support, nothing. Just silence. Guys, that silence is somehow worse than anything else that happened that night. Jae-hyun gets thrown into Krasnov prison, the darkest, most notorious prison in all of Valdoria. Stone walls so thick, the cold lives inside them permanently. Barely any light, and a population of Valdoria's most dangerous and desperate people. The door locks behind him. He stands in that dark cell for a moment. Stone floor, one thin blanket that is going to do absolutely nothing against this cold, a small barred window. He sits down on the floor, back against the wall, and for the first time since waking up in this world, he stops thinking, stops analyzing, stops strategizing. He just sits there, in the dark, and one word comes out of him, quietly, in Korean. Omma. Mom. Okay guys, I need a moment, because that hit different. Brother woke up in a completely different world, lost everything within hours, and in the dark of a prison cell, the only thing he can say is Mom. I cannot. So Jae-hyun's first morning in Krasnov. He wakes up on the stone floor, entire body aching from the cold, and immediately goes back into analytical mode, because that is who he is. Emotions happen, and then he processes and keeps moving. He does a full situation assessment. Typical history student behavior, honestly. Current reality, Krasnov prison, locked in, no timeline for how long. Resources, Victor's political memories, his own historical knowledge, a modern brain that this medieval world has never encountered before. Immediate threats, the prison social hierarchy that he has not mapped yet. Long-term goal, get out. He files the rest for later and focuses on today. First morning in the common area, the space where all prisoners move around during allowed hours, and Jae-hyun does not talk to anyone, does not try to establish himself, does not look for allies. He just watches. And within 20 minutes, he has already mapped the entire room. At the top of the prison hierarchy sits Bogdan, former gang leader, the kind of physically intimidating that goes way beyond just size. Around him, his loyal group of 8 or 10 men who control everything in here. Food, space, information. Jae-hyun watches how they operate, and thinks to himself, yeah, I am definitely their next target. He is right. Lunch. First day. Bogdan's biggest guy walks over to Jae-hyun's table, picks up his food tray, looks him dead in the eyes, and throws it on the floor. The whole common area goes quiet, everyone watching. This is the moment that defines everything about how life goes in here. What does Jae-hyun do? He looks at the tray, looks at the guy, looks back at the tray, and then he calmly bends down, picks the tray back up, puts it on the table, and sits down again. No anger, no fear, no challenge. Just absolute stillness. Bogdan's guys have no idea what to do with this reaction. They expected anger or they expected fear. They got neither. They look at each other completely confused and eventually just walk away. From across the room, Bogdan is watching with a slight frown. And guys, this is the thing about Jae-hyun. He was not being passive. He was not backing down. This was a deliberate strategy. His history brain processed this situation in seconds. He cannot win a fight right now. He has no allies. So the play is zero reaction. Create confusion. Buy time. Build something. Smart. Very smart. Days pass. Bogdan's group keeps targeting him. Food, space, physical pushing, verbal stuff. And every time Jae-hyun gives them nothing emotionally. But while they are busy thinking they are dominating him, he is busy doing something far more important. Mapping everything. Guard shift schedules. Which guards are flexible? Which sections have less surveillance? Where the gaps in daily routines are? Which prisoners operate independently from Bogdan? Every humiliation becomes data. Every uncomfortable moment becomes observation time. Brother is running a whole military intelligence operation from inside a prison cell and nobody even knows it. 10 days in, a new prisoner arrives in the cell right next to his, and Jae-hyun hears her before he sees her. Guards bringing someone down the corridor, and the footsteps are calm. Steady. Not the footsteps of someone scared. Someone measured. Controlled. Through a gap in the wall, he catches a glimpse. Mira Volkov. 25 years old. Dark hair tied back carelessly. Sharp eyes that move fast and miss absolutely nothing. And a face that carries zero fear. Not fake bravado. Actual, settled fearlessness. Like someone who made peace with hard circumstances a long time ago. She enters the cell. Looks around once. Efficiently. Like she is checking the practical details of a room rather than looking for comfort. Then sits down, completely calm. Jae-hyun watches this and feels something he has not felt since arriving in Krasnov. Genuine curiosity. First few days between them, silence. But Jae-hyun is watching, and he notices that Mira mapped this prison faster than he did. Within 2 days, she had already positioned herself perfectly in relation to Bogdan's group, not challenging them, not submitting. A precise middle distance that says, I see you, I am not afraid, and I have no interest in conflict. One afternoon, one of Bogdan's men steps into Mira's path. Classic intimidation move. Mira looks at him. One look. The man steps aside. Guys, one look. That is it. That is all it took. Jae-hyun sees this from across the room, and something just clicks for him. That is real power. Not a title, not an army behind you. The power that lives inside someone who has genuinely stopped being afraid. You cannot fake it. That guy felt it on an instinctive level before his brain could even process what was happening. Jae-hyun files this observation very carefully.